Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Harlequin here, and welcome to another episode of HarlequinCasts, Company of Heroes. And I'd like to start this all off with a nice, warm welcome to all the Company of Heroes players out there who have just been flocking to my channel. You guys are fantastic. Stay a while and listen. Make yourselves at home. Put your feet up. Plenty more videos where these came from. And to all the Dawn of War 2 fans out there who have been enjoying seeing a game other than their own, you guys are classy ladies and gentlemen indeed as well. So expect plenty more of that. The last video that I put up, by the way, I'm just going to take a look around the map here, cruising around while we're talking about this, was a great game by Nuclear Sensei, and that was a nice long game, and it was kind of a test. I wanted to see what people's attention spans were like, and lo and behold, you guys showed up by the thousands, and by and large, almost all of you watched the entire thing. So fantastic news there. So I'm going to go ahead and cast another nice long game for today. And really, the theme for today's game is going to be about winning the game. Yes, that's right. Today's game is all about how to win the game. And we'll see a lot of that going on here today. People trying in various ways to win the game. But just keep that in the back of your mind. That's where we're going with this today. Anyhow, a couple of really good-looking players here. Let's go ahead, look around the map, and get introduced to everybody here today. So on the northern side of the map, controlling the blue pieces, playing as the Panzer Elite, we have the Dude. And the Dude, by the way, is actually Budwise from the Company of Heroes side of GameReplays.org. He is the senior referee there and a fine gentleman indeed. Bumped into him quite a bit in Company of Heroes Online. I have no idea how long he's been playing the Dude account. I think it's just a different account or something, but who knows? He's a great player. And on the southern side of the map, and again, this map, by the way, is Angleville. I'd like to apologize if I've covered Angleville quite a bit, but that just speaks a lot to the fact that Angleville happens to produce a lot of great games. It has a fantastic balance about it. I love this map indeed. His opponent, as the Red American, is going to be Mr. FateBomb, and FateBomb is also a Company of Heroes expert at GameReplays.org, but he's got hundreds of games under his belt. He has at least, I think, for Panzer Elite and for Americans, he was in the top couple hundred players on the ladder. Really skilled player there. Let's go ahead and get this game started. So, taking a look around here, we can see already going into a barracks. Looks like he wants to get the barracks up right away. I've always been under the theory of just like wanting to build the barracks pretty far up so that you can, as the troops come out of it, you cut down their travel time. But nothing too wrong with being defensive. Nice little defensive base there. So let's take a look right now and see the Kettenkrad cruising on out here, capping fuel points right now for the Dude. And Kettenkrad, by the way, Ketten means tracks. Krad is a short German word for motorcycle, or shortening of the German word for motorcycle. So Kettenkrad, tracked motorcycle, that makes sense. And a bit of an interesting first choice here, these fuel points. A lot of players in the northern position simply opt to cap the left-hand side of the map, grabbing a munitions point first, then grabbing a strategic point. Hell, I'll use the tactical map since I have one. But it looked like he was gunning for fuel. He wanted fuel right away and is now just kind of connecting it up. So it's an interesting choice. We'll have to see where he's going to go with his Panzer Grenadiers and whatnot. And for the meantime here, we can see it looks like another strange capture going on right now as well by FateBomb. You can see FateBomb is actually looking like he's gunning for fuel, or at least denying fuel. And it looks like he's about to bump into it. You can see that the Kettenkrad has captured just enough land to be able to connect together two fuel points. But now the Kettenkrad looking a little bit out of position, of course. It doesn't have anything offensive it can do. It has no guns, so it has to just kind of drive around trying to capture. And now the Kettenkrad kind of reminds me of like R2-D2 in Star Wars when there's like a big laser battle going on around him. He's just kind of beeping back and forth. Like all he wants to do is plug into this little computer terminal here. He doesn't care about the big battle going on around him. But as you can see, he's going to go ahead and just continue working on this fuel point. Meanwhile, left-hand side, FateBomb grabbing another fuel point. So all of the battle right now happening over fuel. Big surprise. And again, he was trying to reposition to get out of line of sight, and you can see just kind of getting out of the way here, continuing working on that computer terminal as best he can. Budwise is in a kind of tough position here because he's investing a lot of his early game into just kind of getting this thing all set up here. But notice, however, same sort of problem going on for FateBomb right now, in that he's lunged out onto the field and kind of attacked two fuel points. But hasn't really secured much of his own. So now we can see he's going for just these standard strategic points. I always want to call them requisition points because of Dawn of War 2. But yes, strategic points, just kind of the basic ones. And now you'll notice that these earlier ignored engineers that were over here have just kind of snuck all the way up here on the backside and are now even threatening to disconnect this territory. You can see this one territory right here connects the two fuel points together. So obviously some sort of shenanigans going on right now for the Dude, and hopefully FateBomb will be able to figure that out, because obviously if you caught the automated interview I did for Meet the Players number 2, I forget how many I've announced yet. I record these things in advance, by the way. He was talking about the fact that he normally gets like 4 or 5 Panzer Grenadiers out there. You can see right now they're just going to hang out in here. He does have the rifle upgrade for one of his squads, and they're just firing back and forth, but eventually these guys are going to have to get out of here. But so you can logically guess that your opponent is going to be doing something fancy, and as you can see, he got a logistics company, one of 2 Tier 1 buildings, and is now going straight for the Panzer Jaeger Command here, which can pump out armored cars. Likely, the sudden thirst for fuel that we've seen here is just indicative of that, and so be expecting armored cars out of Budwise. Looking towards FateBomb side of the field, you can see FateBomb has just kind of given up on trying to cap that fuel point straight up and is instead just going to spread out and just kind of regain control of this map, even stopping briefly to cap a victory point for the first time here. Pressing on the right-hand side is always good, but from the northern player's perspective, it can be really hard to get past this hedgerow here. That's kind of the dividing line in the map, obviously. But now you can see even the back capping going on right now for Budwise, and Budwise just finishing that Panzer Jaeger Command. I'll keep that in my focus here. Bam! There's that armored car. Look at his money, by the way. Look at his money and fuel and munitions and everything. Very low, very streamlined build there. Probably only screwed around a little bit because of the fact that he got harassed in his attempt to do that. The rifleman now putting some pressure on fuel. The important thing to note, though, about the armored car is that it is kind of, as we talked about in the automated Meet the Players number 2 interview, it is a glass cannon. So it does not require, anti-tank guns to take it out. You can take it out with rifle fire. For Dawn of War 2 players, kind of like a, kind of more like a Sentinel. And by the way, check out what R2-D2 is doing here. He's just doing a ton of micromanagement, just kind of shoving troops around on the field. It's important to note that even though he can't do damage himself, just the fact that he can push people out of the way can sometimes really screw around with micro and positioning. Forcing them to run around, maybe miss shots, but also pushing them out of cover. That can be important too. Anyhow, so this is a big gamble right now by Budwise. We can see his armored car is just about to pop out on the field, but note his map control is really pretty terrible looking. It's very shaky. This is the second time that he's got his territory very badly disconnected by this one strategic point. Clearly, FateBomb had his own plan in mind, but very quickly adapted once he saw what exactly Budwise was doing. And is just now threatening to harass. He's kind of changing his plan on the fly and being very annoying about it. And I love that in a player. But now here we get to see the armored car, the Panzer Elite armored car, moving out on the battlefield, pumping away with all of its guns. And this thing is just ferocious. It does a lot of damage, but it's also very weak. So we'll have to keep an eye on that thing. Already inflicting some light casualties over here. The right-hand side of the map, again, is a total mess. Kettenkrad is now running it back on over to this side of the map, trying to cap this strategic point. Before this replay, I had never even once referred to this unit as R2-D2, and now that's probably one of my favorite analogies in this game. I might have to continue doing that now that I've lost Panzer Shrek Johann and Bazooka Joe. Anyhow, I don't know where that came from. I apologize. So anyhow, it looks like we're going to go ahead and have a nice ferocious attack right now by Budwise. Obviously, this armored car is not countered in any way. However, it can be countered by just plain old simple things. Blobbing up riflemen will do it just fine. So will Browning automatic rifles. But it looks like, as we can see here, and I love this building positioning down here. Sometimes building your supply yard way down here in the corner can be very useful because it prevents your opponent from just kind of poking his head in and seeing exactly where your tech is at. So motor pool now going up. So that's going to unlock. And by the way, pop quiz. What do you use to counter an armored car? No, you do not use anti-tank guns. You want to use a Greyhound. A Greyhound is a much tougher car. It can do a lot of damage to an armored car. But you can just see that just the combination of machine gun fire and just its normal cannon fire just does a lot of casualties. He almost always gets a kill every volley. Does a lot of damage there. And you can see just going to have to go ahead and get a retreat here. And this guy, oh my god, he's running right through. Oh, and the engineers get the kill out of nowhere. Just kind of a lucky, hey, why not? A single wounded Panzer Grenadier runs past you, kill it, why not? Anyhow, Kettenkrad here has charged on over this side of the map, capturing points, and we can see that the Panzer Grenadier is capping away as well. The armored car, unfortunately, has just not had enough time to be all that aggressive. He spent a lot of time shooting at units that are just kind of hanging out in buildings and stuff, taking some light damage in the meantime. So, unfortunately, it never really spearheaded any sort of huge attacks, but whatever. Again, you can absolutely not drive these into players' bases. They'll get shot up immediately by machine gun emplacements and things like that. Anyhow, so the armored car is now relocating to the left-hand side of the field. So again, it's kind of interesting to see the Budwise all the way over here. Ooh, camouflage ability obtained. So there we go. And check it out. So he has gone ahead and picked Luftwaffe for his first for his commander abilities there. So we got a chance to see some different abilities earlier, but now we're going to see the Luftwaffe, and the Luftwaffe is a pretty interesting commander tree because it has a lot of units. It has a lot of very active things out there. There are times that you want Scorched Earth, and there are times that you want anti-tank. But it looks like today Budwise just wants to have his Luftwaffe abilities. By the way, check it out. He went ahead and went straight up to Panzer support command as well, and has now pumped out a light AT half-track, which is quite awesome because, as we said, the proper counter is to just go ahead and get your fast M8 Greyhound armored car up there. I'm going to go ahead and swatch on down to FateBomb, swap, there we go, swap on down to FateBomb's point of view and take a look at this armored car. You can see right now getting the mandatory upgrades, getting the armored skirts first, and then the 50 caliber machine gunner. So having that light anti-tank half-track out there, great idea because it's going to counter the thing that would normally counter his armored car, which is up here. So again, a little bit of metagame thinking going on there. I love seeing that kind of logic though. He's having the solution to his own counter out on the field as fast as he can. Anyhow, so we see the Luftwaffe squad is out here in the field right now. These are a bunch of clever gentlemen that can do all sorts of fun stuff, but we'll get to them in a little bit. We'll be seeing more of them too. They can repair and they can build things. Whatever though, they're kind of moving out on the field right now, occupying this one key house here. And here is the first encounter between these two units right now. We can see, interestingly enough, it looks like Budwise went ahead and got the offensive upgrade for his first veterancy on his armored car there. Automed had shared with me earlier that he almost always goes with defensive first. But we'll take a look and see. Anyhow, so the M8 Greyhound is kind of looking at this target here. I mean, obviously, his only purpose in life right now is to deal with that armored car. However, there's an AT gun up here he has to look out for. And as we've seen before, those AT guns have a tread breaker shot, which immobilizes a vehicle. Makes it very easy for infantry to catch up with it and disable it later on in the game. And here we have it. Here we have the flank attack. Notice how he thought that went through all the way and instantly getting a damaged engine, doing a ton of damage. But here comes the AT gun, and the AT gun's going to take a shot. And there it is. And it didn't do it. He didn't do it. He just... Oh no, and you can see a little ellipsis coming out of the dude here. Unfortunately, he missed his opportunity to get a tread breaker shot, lost his armored car, and this nice little M8 armored car is going to get out of there on time. You can see he lost his gunner in the middle of all that. A kind of a light critical hit. There's a couple different ways you can get critical hits on vehicles. One of them just kills the gunner, but that was unfortunate. And yes, now they're going to discuss that little bit of an error there indeed, so I'll just let that chat play itself out. Yeah, misclick, FML. Oh well. But taking a look around the map right now, I'm going to go back to the mini-map point of view here just so that we can get an idea of what's going on in terms of captures. We can see that Budwise is beginning to pick up a little bit of pace here. Now that he's got the Panzer support out as well, we can see the Assault Grenadiers are moving out right now. These guys are, of course, awesome in close combat kind of situations, a lot like Stormtroopers from Company of Heroes Online, where nice little units there. They're going to be moving out as well. Let's take a look around at army points right now and just kind of see. So we've got, right now for FateBomb, I'm gonna look at this armored car right now. Right now for FateBomb, we've got the armored car, we've got the anti-tank gun, we've got 4 rifleman squads, 2 engineers. That's been his build order pretty much. So he's getting the late anti-tank gun out as well. That's certainly looking pretty good. And it looks like right now he's pretty much backed out of the right. Earlier we saw him push all the way up here on the right-hand side. Now it looks like he's focusing all of his troops on the left-hand side. We'll have to see where exactly he's going with that. I'm going to take a look back, by the way, at the dude. Again, note the mini-map color changes here. We can see he is, as I pointed out, invested in Luftwaffe. No other points or anything like that yet. And there is another armored car out on the field. I'm going to take a look at his point of view as well here. We can see he's got just the 2 vehicles, the 3 Panzer Grenadiers, and 2 more Luftwaffe squads out there. Anti-tank gun, taking some random pot shots at infantry. Again, all of the Panzer Elite vehicles, very light. They take. You can see a little bit of incidental fire here and there, doing some damage. And now we've just got a nice little abundance of troops here on the left-hand side of the field.